Hey, everybody. How's it going? This is Rob Turley, your host of Down the Rabbit Hole podcast, brought to you by White Rabbit Intel. Now, today I've got a guest, and it's a really interesting accolade, right? Is that it is a man who has failed more than else, who loves to fail, and failure is his driver. But it's kind of funny because everybody should fail. That's the only way that you learn. So the more you fail, the more you learn. As long as you learn from it, that's what differentiates the best from the worst, right? So, Dan, please take it from here. And I forgot to mention too, he does lead gen and he also helps sales teams not suck. So, Dan, please take it from here. Tell them what you really do.
Hey everyone. So my name is Dan Newman, and I am the CEO of Learn to Scale. And what we like to do is help businesses predictably sell. And I leverage a long time in learning and development and training and failure to help businesses predictably sell. And so part of what we do is we do outsourced lead gen and also coaching and strategy so that businesses can really feel confident about how they're selling and who they're selling to.
Oh my God, so do I. All of that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right.
We're on the right
No,
podcast.
that's fantastic. Yeah, exactly. So today, I think it'd be interesting for us to talk about the thing that everybody loves and hates the most. Oh, it is such a love-hate relationship. Lead generation. Oh, what a terrible, terrible thing. What an expensive thing. Well, it doesn't fucking have to be. It's just you have to work smart, not hard. Use intelligence. Use a data-driven approach. It needs to be from a perspective of knowing who to target, not to we need 10,000 more leads so we can just spam the shit out of all of them. Double it. Just keeps happening. Because selling is a numbers game and you need to contact 100 people before you find anybody who's worth talking to. That is not the truth. There's no reason to do it the stupid way anymore because there are a lot smarter ways to do it. It's about a hyper-targeted approach. It's about building a proper funnel. It's about driving a process that is relationship-centric and client-driven.
One might say high volume is dead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So everybody who's listening, new hashtag, please use it. It's hashtag high volume is dead.
It's so
with
dead.
a little skull next to it. I've been trying to drive the shit out of this because us hyper targeters out there and data-driven sellers and marketers, my God, let's do it. But anyway, Dan, what is your first thought when it comes to lead gen? I want to hear your perspective and then the prospect's perspective on what lead gen is.
Yeah. So as someone who advises sales teams on lead gen, the thing that is really tough to bridge is the understanding of marketing to sales, and that what is a marketing activity and what's a sales.
I was just talking about this today. Yes, nice.
Right? Like this is the eternal conflict. It's because it's a functional thing about how your organization procedurally changes from a marketing activity to a sales activity, but it's also a mindset shift from let's bring in people, educate them from a marketing angle to let's move them through a funnel and help guide their decision making. And so lead gen is that friction point. And if you approach lead gen as a targeted, meaningful, helpful activity that you are connecting with quality leads, great, awesome. If you are doing high volume, you are going to be annoying as fuck.
Yeah,
to
right.
lots and lots of people.
Yeah, it creates tons of brand damage. And to avoid that, you need to use a data-driven approach. I mean, there are solutions out there that help with this, including my own, right? That you can selectively find the people who are most likely to become your next best customer. That's the idea. So how can we leverage technologies like that to discontinue this high volume outreach that has been so deeply ingrained by the lead gen companies out there where literally like the database companies, literally they bank on your failure. That's how they make all their money. It's a volume-based revenue model. The last thing they want is for you to succeed because they don't get paid, right? So it becomes a problem. They're the ones driving the market, but also destroying it at the exact same time. So it's about understanding, breaking that paradigm. You don't need more, you need less, which in turn are more that fit. And that's the idea that Dan is talking about here. And what I'm talking about here is that we don't need more leads. We need more leads that are a fit. And how can that be done? And what can we do to ensure that that is happening?
So, yeah, I think it really also depends what hat you're wearing. So if you're wearing your sales hat and you are thinking about lead generation, you tend to approach it of a let's guide people through this value prop to help them make a decision. And so that's why a lot of people who are doing lead gen wearing their sales hat plays high volume, because they throw their pitch at hundreds and thousands of people, hoping maybe to get a 1% conversion rate of people who are in the market, the right person, they're ready to buy, and they're ready to have their decisions guided by someone outside of their trust network. Okay, if that's your strategy, you're going to pay the cost in your brand damage. You're going to cause the cost in terms of just sending out all these messages, which on a lot of our major social media and social selling platforms, you're going to get dinged for. The alternative is to put on your marketing hat and really see lead gen as an opportunity to learn more about your market and help refine down what you are saying and who you are saying it to when you do put on your sales hat. And that type of lead gen, it feels different because you are not pushing as much as adding value. You are saying, hey, you're someone who I've added value to, in the past, someone just like you. This might be valuable to you. Here's some value. Great. Here's an ebook. Here's a downloadable. Why don't you just give me your email address and I'll send you over some really cool stuff.
You must give before you get, always. And another thing to add to that is it's about defining the who, and then the what, and then the who around that what, then the when, the where, the why, the how, right? So the when, where, why, how, pretty easy to figure out. Well, not the when specifically, because the buying cycle, or that's really hard in the B2B market. B2C, it's easy because 86% of all purchases in consumer markets are actually impulse buys. It's batshit crazy. That's a real fucking statistic. So even when you go to the grocery store, 86% of the time you're buying something because you saw it, not because you went there for it, right?
So that's how I ended up with ginger snaps in my pantry.
Exactly, that's how. But and just a little side note too. I know we're going off track here, but a little side note too. For some reason, a sales hat, when you said that, that's a fez, and a marketing hat is a fedora. It just those are what they are.
Yeah, I will get my marketing fedora, and maybe that'll be part of the swag pack for people who
marketing and sales hat swag pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, but buy today. Yeah, no. So getting further back into where we were going before is that people don't really understand the segmentation behind marketing and sales. Marketing is for raising awareness. It's for building connections. It's for creating a community, right? And it's for directing the conversation around what it is that you sell, so people engage. They become a part of it. They feel like they're a part of it, and they become educated to learn why they need something. So it's about adding that value at every single turn, because the buyer's journey starts way before the salesperson even.
Oh yeah. 50% of people who are in the market don't even know they need your product or service. They're not even aware of it. And,
and did you know that a BDR is actually a marketing function?
It depending on how you slice and dice it out your
They're
org.
just
That's how I
human direct marketers, because they're not trying to sell anything. They're trying to get meetings set. They're literally a human lead form. That's all a BDR is. They're a marketing function, and I will argue you to the death about that. That they're not a sales function. What do they do that has anything to do with sales? Really, think about it.
I think so. My fiance is a inside sales rep, a little bit different than your like cold call BDR.
Yeah.
But a lot of her activity is educating. And so that's where I think the BDRs, and that's where the humans on your team really shine, is educating. And you can call this sales education, or you call it product service education. Depends on kind of like how you prep them and what kind of scripts they're using, whatever. But they're still at that kind of like liminal space between, is this a marketing thing? Is this a salesy thing? They're kind of the front lines of the sales team, or they're the vanguard of the marketing team. Like, wherever you want to say it, in the buyer's journey, they could potentially be the first human at the organization from a brand standpoint that speaks to them and really speaks individually to them. And that's a really special time.
Yes, that's true. BDRs and CS managers, like customer success, are your front lines on both fronts, internal and external.
Bingo. And training them and making sure that they are empathetic to the buyer, that they're equipped with all the right information, and that they're human. Because I think at the end of the day, a prospect, whether it's a B2B or a B2C, they want to do business with a human, whether that's a human who designed the Amazon interface or a human that is walking up on the street and say, hey, do you want to buy my stuff? That human trust is really important for just how we make decisions.
People buy from the people they like, trust, and can relate to, period. That's it. It will never change either. Now, back to, okay, so we're talking about how they need to be acting and all of that. But what is that? How does it tie back to lead generation? an effective lead generation process? How do you build a funnel from that type of an approach? Because most people would say it's too much labor effort. There's no way for us to know how can I generate leads doing stuff like that? Like, does it even work? What does it mean?
Yeah, I think coming at it like a scientist, lead gen is a scientific activity. So you have a market that you want to reach out to. They can be compartmentalized and sliced and diced using LinkedIn sales nav filters, or just, whatever type of criteria you can use to attach to broad groups of people. There's the persona making. And then there's the message testing. It's these are the words I'm going to say consistently to this market, and seeing at a percentage data driven perspective, who does this resonate with and how much does it resonate with them? And if you approach lead gen like a scientific exercise, it really does fulfill both the sales and the marketing sides of your business,
Yes, it
because
does.
you will keep refining who you reach out to, what do you say, and it's going to move people into your funnel that it does work for.
Right. That's true. And how do you know if you're making the right decisions when it comes to engaging with people? Just because there's high engagement, that doesn't mean anything. People can be very engaged where it's like, oh, yeah. So I don't want people to mix it up either. There is interest, and
Mhm.
then I'm not going to use the word intent, because intent data has been mislabeled by marketers out there, because all it is behavioral data. There's no intent. Intent is literally not measurable until the action has already happened. Fact. Okay. There's not even arguing it. It's literally a fact. So uh, it's not intent. So there are people who are interested, and then there are people who are likely to buy. Period. That's it. And most marketers and salespeople make the mistake of driving as much interest as possible to eventually have the people who buy slip through the cracks. But most communities and campaigns are built around the highest level of engagement, the wrong metrics, not the outcome, but the metrics, the actions, the activity that's happening. The activity is irrelevant if it's not converting. Would you rather have 1 million impressions on your post that generated one sale? Or, because that's exciting, 1 million, oh my God. But would you rather have 10,000 impressions on your post? Ooh, and then 5 sales close. It doesn't, you'd rather have the 10,000. It's not about being the most popular. That's just what being an influencer is, which has nothing to do with selling.
I would disagree. I would say, there's a lot more to those two scenarios. You've got the viral post that led to one sale. You've got the, audience engaged post to a few more sales. Those are two different situations, and one is not necessarily better than the other, because it matters in the broader scope of things.
Yeah, what
If
are you
you
trying to
are
accomplish?
if you are capturing the mind share of those million people who read your post, and then your follow-up post and your follow-up post, capturing mind share is one of the most important things a marketer can do. Something like 95% of buyers are not in the market at any one point in time, but when they are, they want to think of you first. So that million post thing may not be so shabby, but you better have a very consistent set of slam dunks like that to then capitalize on it and really enhance your sales and marketing
Yeah, because
efforts.
most of the time, those massive engagement posts and everything, they turn into
Yeah,
nothing. It's a dud,
it's a
and
flash
then
in the pan.
it's a dangerous game to play and very expensive.
Yes.
Where you need to have it so it breaks off into like micro funnels for each individual, like each grouping of people that were engaging with it, and that you have an offering that someone in each of those different demographics are going to buy in the first place. Where if you've interested 10 million people in the wrong demographic, you're not going to get a single sale ever. That's the thing. So it's you need to know your target to
Mhm.
the nth degree at the most granular level to make that a successful play. And not a lot of people have the technology or the data to back that up, or even the know-how to back that up, outside of enterprises who have entire divisions and they dump about 200 million into it to even make it possible.
Mhm. And there's a lot that even a solopreneur can do
Mhm.
to approach their marketing in a data-driven method. It's figuring out the buyer's journey really intimately and empathizing with a very defined niche. I mean, it's
Though arguably one of the hardest things to do is to put yourself into the buyer's shoes, because whenever people do it, they do it for a split second and then they revert right back to the seller. Oh, well, what do I want? Because humans are wired to, what do I
yep.
want? You need to think about what they want if you were them, which is really hard because your brain keeps switching back to, wait, what do I want? Wait, what do I want? And it doesn't work. So that's a difficult process. What would you do? How would you recommend people to put themselves into the buyer's shoes without having it happen for about a split second to actually consistently think that way?
So Seth Godin made a post in one of he writes every single day about how we walk through life seeing things through our eyes, assuming that it is all true. And that one sentence really stuck with me because every single time I walk up the street, I assume everything I'm seeing is true. But the reality is that everyone looks through their own eyes, assuming what they see is true. And that is the first step towards disassociating your interests and starting to really empathize with someone else.
And I can redefine that too for other people if they didn't really get that. If you're more heady like me and analytical at the same time, right? So there is what's true, and what's true is true to you because your truth is built by your own perspective, internal perspective, yourself, the way that you see things. So truth, it doesn't actually mean anything. It means it's your truth. It's just an opinion of the truth that you believe, right? Then there is the real. The real is what is, but your truth will almost never align with the real. Your truth is what you want to see. The real is what's actually going on.
There's I got it on my shelf. So I went to school for philosophy because I'm a nerd. And I think it was Friedrich Nagel who wrote a book called The Subjective Point of View. And in it,
Perspective.
subjective. And what was really mind blowing at the time when I was in college, trying to kiss girls and, trying to pass, was the realization that one can never truly have an objective point of view. Is that even God himself, herself, itself is still seeing things from one perspective. And we cannot even envision a world through someone else's eyes because there's always subjectivity associated with it. And so that's kind of like a pill we all have to swallow in a sales and marketing world, that no matter how hard you try, you're still going to see things through your own biased perspective. But having the simple awareness that what you see, the truth that you believe, the interpretation you see, the numbers in front of you mean something to you, may mean something to someone else. And even just putting that on the table is like, what if I'm wrong? And that embrace of the
I
willingness
wish
to
more
fail.
people did that because the amount of just deep-rooted paradigms people have is absolutely nuts. Open-mindedness is the first step. So awareness is the first step. Starting to develop an open mind is the next step. And then third is starting to attempt to walk in the path thereof, and go down different rabbit holes. Yeah, no pun intended. Yeah, yeah, but it's so important, and that's one of the keys to effective lead gen is truly understanding who you sell to and who buys from you, why they buy from you, the journey that they take to buy it from you, the needs, the pains, and the desires, which often people buy it because they want it, and what they need is not what they want. What they want is what they think they need. When you run into that, you can missell a lot of people. So really, really understanding how to communicate it to them, the delivery and the message.
And for anyone who's listening to this who works at a small organization, the risk is extra high because there's so few people who are hearing this and looking at this and arguing over it. And finding ways to bring other voices to the table to look at the data, look at the feedback from your customers. That's crucial to disabusing your own biased perspectives of these guys love this product. Well, it's because it's your product, solopreneur. Like you designed it, you sold it, you think these people love it. But when you bring someone else to the table and says, I'm looking at this and I'm not seeing the same picture you're seeing, that's where you really need to diversify.
Yeah, and at that point, all you're hearing is just a bunch of me.
Bingo. It's an echo chamber to your own perspective.
Yeah, exactly. I call it founder's disease.
Founders still have, it is a terminal disease.
yeah, just like status quoitis. That's also terminal. But there is a cure. The cure is to make a decision to stop doing fucking nothing. Yeah.
Or to stop doing fucking everything. That's the other choice.
Oh yeah, and then changing direction and doing something else, right?
Yeah. And that takes an appreciation of failure, which I love talking about failure because if you can say, you know what, that didn't work, I'm going to move on. That having that growth mindset, that's how you evolve and move forward. And if you're too dang stuck into what you're doing, you're never going to find the long-term success you seek. That's
true. That is true. And what is the largest failure that you've had in the lead gen business?
Oh my gosh. Every day there's failures. We are always testing hypotheses. That's what it is. And finding those failures, I mean, it stinks from a sales perspective, but it's great for a learning perspective. Every failure in terms of a message that didn't hit as well, or an audience that wasn't receptive, or even a client that this strategy didn't work out for their business and their closers couldn't close cold leads. Those are really important learnings. I mean, I
Yeah,
remember,
those are all variables that you have, the uncontrollable variables too. You
yeah.
cannot control how well another company's sales team can perform.
And one of the, so let me tell you a story. When I first started into entrepreneurship, I was delivering an HR coaching program. I was helping HR professionals, have a bigger impact at their organization. I loved it. The people who ended up signing up for it loved it. But dang, it was really hard to generate leads. So I hired a lead gen team. I said, hey, lead gen people, bring in this type of people because based off of my current customers, they freaking love it. And so they did exactly what I asked them to do. They brought in exactly who I wanted with the messaging that I thought was great. And none of the people I spoke to were even remotely interested in the service that I could offer. I
That's
was
right.
marking up the wrong persona. It was the wrong
And
messaging, wrong
that's what
people.
most companies are doing, but they just keep driving the numbers game, the high volume. This is why high volume's dead. It doesn't work. So
Mhm.
they just keep, if you double the volume, you'll double the sales theoretically, but then the market becomes more and more crowded and more noise, and then it just backfires. And when everybody does that, this is why we're in this freaking mile deep hole that we're in right now as a marketplace. We need less of it. So, like you said, analyzing and understanding data to know who your real target
Mhm.
is important. No matter what you think, what your truth is, data will provide the real, right? So it all tied back right there. So
But
if
data can
anybody's
lie to you.
interested in that, literally
You're
just
gonna
check out my
interpret that
company.
data and it's
You'll
gonna
love
lie
it.
to you.
And yeah, what? Sorry, what did you say?
I said, when you look at data, the numbers don't lie, but you, the person interpreting the data, that's where you start tricking yourself into either believing one thing or another.
Yeah, the interpreter can lie
That's
unless
the
the
interpreter.
machine interprets it for you. Uh, now, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah, data doesn't lie. What I like to say is data can tell data from your past and your present, when interpreted properly, can be used to accurately predict your future. Of course, because what happened, what's happening, will pretty much tell you what will happen based off of your current trajectory, unless you actually make a change. If you make a change or a pivot, swap directions, then that future is not accurate. But if you continue the status quo, you will go there.
Mhm. That is the fundamental belief of this. I can't believe I'm pulling out my philosophy education here about determinism. Is that everything in life is preordained? The ball bouncing down the hill is going to end up. We can predict exactly where the ball is going to end up, just like where humans end up in lives and where beliefs end. Like all of that could be planned if you've got a machine smart enough and enough observations to
Mhm.
calculate and plan and predict all that data. And in some worlds, we are getting to that point. And you can do it in a lot of advertising spaces. If I sink $1 million into paid ads that deliver this type of outcome to customers, you can probably predict a percentage of that is going to actually buy.
Yeah, I mean, and just what boggles my mind is performance-based marketers where they don't get paid unless the performance there. They need to be able to predictably offer their service. Otherwise, they are fucked as a company.
They are, and my philosophy on performance based marketers is that there's a reassurance, especially to a business, that this group will deliver what they promise to deliver. But if you are selling a unique business to a unique persona, or you have unique needs, or you have unique positioning, the performance based marketers are going to groom you more into the grooves that they know they can reliably sell.
Yeah,
If
but
that's okay with you, that's great.
the real interesting area, these are far and few between out there. Marcus Hemsley, he did a recording with me. I think it was 2 episodes ago from this one. Um, yeah, Marcus Hemsley is an evidence-based marketer. Do you know what that is?
It sounds like they sell you the insights at the end of the day. It's like, we ran this 1,000 times, and here's the
No,
percentage
they
breakdown. The
they
evidence.
will do a deep discovery and analysis of everything, where the evidence that it is possible must be present for them to even offer you the contract. You need to prove that your shit is sellable and how it can be sold and how the campaigns would need to move before they even say yes to a contract with you to guarantee that it will work and be effective. That's next level from performance based.
Yeah, no, that's also a really good triage process because you don't want to bring in junk clients that got a junk process and then they walk away giving you 1 star in Trustpilot because you didn't deliver their outcomes on their crappy product. Like that's just good triage.
Yeah, yeah, and often you get that 1 star because there was unspoken expectations. You delivered
Yeah.
everything you were supposed to deliver, but then there was an expectation that wasn't quite discussed well enough. So
Mhm.
they just go, "This isn't what I wanted," and then that's that.
Yep. Yep. And that's a risk that we all take when we sell is can you set expectations appropriately while still selling a dream, while still selling a potential of a future?
That's true. It's a lot. It sounds a lot easier than it actually is. Oh yes. Oh yes. Uh, so moving from there, when we're talking data collection, aggregation, sales ops, market ops, when you're
Mhm.
filling up your CRM, when you're doing your lead gen processes, when you are bringing together a sales team to be able to do this properly, a marketing team to be able to do this properly, what type of data? I'm always interested in this because I'm a data guy. If you saw my CRM, it looks like a serial killer CRM. We know everything that's ever happened, every movement, every touch, everything that literally descriptions on descriptions of everything, even manual ones, all of that, everything's logged. It's disgusting.
Mhm.
Um, what do you have your clients, or even when you're providing lead gen, what is the most important stuff for people to log at a baseline minimum?
Ooh, I have so many deep thoughts on this. I believe that you should collect data that will help you make decisions. And I think that's like the fundamental litmus test. Whether you're a small startup, whether you're an established business, whether you're a major enterprise, is collecting data to help you make decisions. Now, you might be making those decisions today, such as do we want to reach out to this person or that person? It may help you make decisions at the end of the quarter of how's our performance been on this objective that we are aiming towards this quarter.
Or
Maybe
here's a good one that most people don't. Where are our leads coming from?
lead sources is definitely valuable because then you want to know where are you going to double down on. Are you going to double down on your paid ads? You're going to do more on the content. You're going to do more by outsourcing, like all those different
Or
things.
even just what platforms are they coming from? Where do they live?
It, it-
Are they in LinkedIn? Are they in Facebook? Like where are they converting from? What website?
so here's the risk: collecting that information is great, but if it's collecting information for collecting information's sake, it is not a smart investment of your time.
Well, unless you can have it automated, then you have it. Then you can run it through an AI to see if it is relevant. But if it takes you
Even
any
still,
time or effort to do anything, then no.
even still is that there are so many things that a business is trying to keep track of. And when you start adding noise, it confuses the sales reps, it confuses the sales manager, it confuses the marketing team, the demand gen folks, is that you want to give them the tools so that they can make decisions and smart decisions, but not to be
I'm a
bogged
firm
down
believer
with.
in that. So I miscommunicated with you then for that because you can track that stuff, but it's not visible in like a contact in your database or CRM. Like it's all in the background. No one can see it. None of it's visible, but it's all being tracked in the background, all those metrics. So then you can analyze with AI, see if it's actually worth anything, if it's important, because it may be the most important thing you may not know. So it's good to track everything that you can, but only have the data visible. This is why I don't like data enrichment companies that fill in leads and put like everything about them on there. The salesperson, the marketing people don't know what the hell to focus on anymore, or they'll look at something where everybody has this. When if you ran it through like an AI decision tree, it would say, yeah, even though they have that all in common, it's literally irrelevant. They start focusing on the wrong things. They get confused and they overcomplicate the sale or the approach, just like you're
Mhm.
saying.
Yep.
And that's the danger zone.
That's the danger zone. And also, there is a very realistic execution overhead to make sure all that stuff works, to set in place the things that all those little nibbles of time, they do add up. It's, oh, we're using Facebook ads, so we need to put the pixel in. Okay, we'll put the pixel in. But oh, we have to put it in the code injection thing because we have it on this website. And then you got to, make sure that it's also aligned with the Google Tag Manager because someone rolled out Google Tag Manager. Like all of those little decisions and nibbles, it takes time away from selling, from spending time with your customers, and from making smarter decisions.
Kind of keeps your engineering team away from helping improve the product.
And then you're gonna have to hire a DevOps shop to help our engineers be more productive. And DevOps is really expensive right now. Like, don't hire.
Yeah, like you're talking at least $250, $300 an hour.
So as a business, you have to be strategic and know what are the decisions we need to make today to set ourselves up for success. A quarter away, half a year away, at a year away, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, what are decisions we will have to make? What are some hypotheses of how this business is going to unfold? Because ultimately, the market is going to tell you whether your business is working or not. And you might have to do a huge shift. And all that data that you spent a lot of time collecting and analyzing and throwing data doesn't matter anymore because your product totally changed. Like, delay decisions to the last reasonable moment. And that includes data collection in my book.
So delaying data collection?
Delaying extraneous data collection.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because don't delay data collection ever.
Yeah.
Make
Sure
selling and marketing is
Google Analytics is free. Just put the thing in. Just put it in. Like,
I can't stand salespeople who don't actually so you go into a deal and then you see the deal description and it says because they want to grow their company.
Really helpful.
Okay, if you were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, God forbid, and then another salesperson, this person's all the way at the end. They're at the, they're close to the close. You have the proposal out, all that stuff. They need to have another conversation about what the strategy is going to be to decide with their leadership in order to close the deal. You have another salesperson go on there, one of the senior ones. They open up the deal and they see because they want to grow their business. How the fuck are they supposed to do anything outside of another discovery as if you hit reset on the whole thing? Guess what? They're not buying. They're going to think you're a bunch of idiots.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be done in a way. All that data needs to be collected, the right data, the ones that help you make decisions and know what's going on, so that if you got hit by a bus tomorrow, God forbid, someone else can go onto that deal and know exactly what's going on, exactly what they need, what their pains are, all that stuff. So it's as if they started without ever falling off. Like they know exactly what's going on right there.
Yeah.
They already have everything. The only thing that would be missing is that the rapport hasn't been built yet with that person.
And that's, I mean, I absolutely agree because everything there is trying to make the customer experience the best dang thing ever. And if you can log relevant information, stick to the talk track so the rest of the team knows what the heck you're saying, bringing in the profile of people that you're supposed to be bringing in. That means if you are hit by the bus, the institutional memory is there to ensure that the organization can follow through on what's been teed up just so beautifully.
And that, my friend, is exactly why RevOps processes are the absolute best. De-siloing it and heavy on data collection so that everybody knows what's going on. So when it goes from the sales team and gets past the CS team, they already know what their objectives are, what their pains are. They know how to help them and strategically do so without doing another discovery.
Yep.
Standardized
team,
they know why people are buying from you. They know the reason why marketers are often off target and just market to the people who are interested for engagement and it never converts is because the sales team doesn't provide the data or even share the data with them saying this is who buys from us, this is why they buy it, and then this is the reason they bought it through their eyes, because the salesperson is the only person who could document that.
Yeah.
I make that required. Whenever I consult people or do CRM audits or whatever else, they have to track that because it should all speak to itself as a system. When should the marketing team create promotions for specific clients? Which clients for? To upsell them, to cross-sell them, to make them happier, to do value adds. It's all based off of the client. Client-centric needs to be RevOps-centric. So anything that's siloed, you're siloing the client's needs. That's self-destructive.
I think RevOps, sales ops, the people who architect all the systems, they have so much control over the customer experience. And the salespeople and the marketers are the ones who directly touch it. But the architecture is there because the RevOps people made it dang simple for a customer to go from just heard about this to I want to buy to now I'm getting supported by my customer success rep. This is great. I love this company. I'm going to tweet it to all my friends. That's
right.
Thanks to RevOps, smart RevOps.
That's right. And I think this is a good place to finish. And for everybody listening, if you want to read an article that I wrote on RevOps, it's on GTM Mag. So gtmmag.com. You can go there. It's awesome. It's non-for-profit, right? So it's not some bullshit, no ads, nothing. Check it out. It's called Confessions of a RevOps Hitman. That's me. And is there any? So I'd like to know, Dan, if everybody were to forget everything that we just said today, what would you want them to walk away remembering that will benefit them most and that they can apply to either their business or themselves right away?
I think it taps back into what we were saying, is that everything's subjective through your own eyes. The one thing that everyone should remember is that your view of everything at your business is one perspective. And whether you have a team, whether you have a consultant, whether you have a friend, whether you have an advisory board, they're there to help you be successful. And if you allow yourself to be open to other people's feedback or advice or perspectives, you're going to fail fast, you're going to learn fast, and you're going to grow.
That's beautiful. And love it. And where's the best place for people to find you or get in touch with you?
LinkedIn is definitely great. I love LinkedIn, and I live on LinkedIn. But you can find out more at my website, Learn to Scale. It's www.learntoscale.us. I like to consider it like Learn to Scale us, like a community, but learntoscale.us.
Love it. Perfect. Perfect. And everybody, as you know, this podcast, Down the Rabbit Hole, is brought to you by White Rabbit Intel, where they can help you hyper target people who fit and know who will become your next best customer, inside and or outside your pipeline. So it doesn't matter if they're in it, out of it. Same thing with the funnel, anywhere within the stage of the process, right? Awesome stuff. You can go there at www.whiterabbitintel.com. And enough of that promo crap. Now, thank you, everybody. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, please reach out to either me or reach out to Dan. We've been more than happy to communicate with you. Absolutely. If you share this content, it is very much appreciated, because if you think we're doing a good thing here, please share it with your friends, family, colleagues, whoever else. It goes a really long way. And that's what helped get this podcast the bronze medal. We want gold next year, but the bronze medal for the Top Sales World Magazine, Top Sales and Marketing Podcast. So I thank everybody and all my listeners for that and for nominating. Now, if you share it, please use hashtag DTRH podcast. And if you tag me, I will always help promote your stuff. Thank you very much and have a good night. If you enjoyed this episode, follow Down the Rabbit Hole podcast for new episodes weekly on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pandora, and YouTube. If you'd like to apply to be featured on the podcast or recommend a featured guest, please feel free to email us at theteam@whiterabbitintel.com.